The candidates tournament for 2024 is heating up, and it is being one of the closest candidates in the history of chess. And as you can see from the standings here, it is a very close fight with 6 players separated by just a single point. So after round 10, and I am recording this video on the rest day after round 10. So this is date is 16th April 2024, where I am recording this video, and tomorrow will be the round 11 and round 12. So after round 12, Gukesh and Nepu Nishi are leading the tournament with 6 points each, followed closely by 3 players in Pragnananda, Hikaru and Caruana, and then Vidit with 5 points. And then Alireza and Abasov are a little bit further away, with Alireza at 3.5 points and Abasov with 3 points. So at this point in time, I decided to test out both Chat GPT and Google Gemini and see who they think will win the candidates tournament. Now, both of them predict very fascinating results, and both of them have very interesting results, and neither of them picks a single winner. They both predict is going to the tie breaks. But one thing to note about ChatGPT is that it does not know anything after 2022, so its predictions are little bit based on what it knew about 2022, and you will come to know why, because ChatGPT gives one of the guy to go into an insane run and almost win the candidates tournament. So let's start with first of all with ChatGPT. So these are the pairings for round 11. We have Pragnananda with white against Hikaru, and their earlier game in the candidates ended in a draw. We have Vidit versus Nepo, and Nepo defeated Vidit in round 4. Then Gukesh is facing Caruana, and their earlier game also ended in a draw. And Alireza is facing Abasov, and their earlier game also ended in a draw. So now let's see what's ChatGPT predicting for this round. So as you can see, for round 11, ChatGPT predicts Pragnananda and Hikaru to draw their game, Nepo to beat Vidit again, Caruana to beat Gukesh, and Alireza to beat Abasov. So after round 11, these would be the standings. Nepo will go into the clear lead with 7 points. Caruana will come up into second place with 6.5 points. Gukesh will drop down to third with Hikaru and Prague in 6 points. Vidit will be now 2 points off the lead at 5 points. Alireza and Abasov will be 7th and 8th, with Alireza closing the gap to Vidit. So now in round 12, the pairings are Hikaru is facing Alireza, and Hikaru defeated Alireza in round 5 with the black pieces. Then Abasov is facing Gukesh, and Gukesh won that game with white pieces. And then Caruana and Vidit and Nepo and Prague, and both of these games ended in a draw. So let's see what ChatGPT predicts. So ChatGPT goes for a Hikaru versus Alireza, he goes for a draw. For Abasov versus Gukesh, he goes for Gukesh victory. For Caruana versus Vidit, he again goes for win for Fabiano Caruana. And for Nepo versus Prague, he again goes for a victory for Nepo Nishi. So after 12 rounds, Nepo continues to lead the candidates with 8 points, Caruana with 7.5, Gukesh at third with 7, and then Hikaru at 6.5 with now clear 4th. Prague is now 5th, and then Vidit and Alireza are tied for 7th place, and Abasov comes in at 8th place with 3 points. So now these are the pairings for the penultimate round, and the round 13 will be played after a rest day after round 12. And these are the pairings. So Nepo faces Hikaru, and their game ended in a draw in round 7. Prague against Caruana also ended in a draw. Vidit against Abasov also ended in a draw, with Vidit missing various chances to win that game. And Gukesh versus Alireza was the heartbreak game for Gukesh, which he lost right at the end against Alireza. So let's see what ChatGPT predicts for this one. So for Nepo versus Hikaru, ChatGPT predicts another draw. For Pragnananda versus Caruana, ChatGPT predicts Caruana to win 4 games in a row at the candidates tournament. And for Vidit versus Abasov, it predicts Vidit to win against Abasov, meaning Abasov loses 4 games in a row, and the Gukesh Alireza game to end in a draw. ChatGPT after round 13. So now Caruana is tied with Nepo for first place, and Gukesh is 1 point off at 7.5, and the only other one who can catch the leaders, but he cannot catch the leaders because Nepo and Caruana will be facing up in round 14, so they can beat either of them and win the tournament. Then Hikaru is in 4th, Pragnananda 5th along with Kukesh, along with Vidit, and Alireza is 7th and Abasov is 8th. So now one round to go. Let's see who wins the candidates tournament. So for round 14, Hikaru is facing Gukesh with the previous game ending in a draw, and now with neither of them can realistically win this candidates tournament or tie for first place. Alireza and Vidit facing off each other with both of them in 6th and 7th to decide who will finish above the other. Abasov is facing off Prague, and Prague won the reverse game, and Caruana and Nepo facing in a showdown for the first place. So let's see who will win this candidates tournament according to Chat GPT. So the game between Hikaru and Gukesh will end in a draw according to Chat GPT. Alireza will beat Vidit and Prague will beat Abasov. So Alireza will finish above Vidit as per Chat GPT. And now the game that you are all waiting for, the one that decides the candidates tournament between Nepo and Caruana, and Chat GPT predicts that game to end in a draw. That means that both of them will tie for first place, and this candidates tournament will go into a tie break. So the standings after 14 rounds have been played would be as. So this is how the candidates tournament of 2024 will finish according to ChatGPT. Jan Nepomniachtchi and Fabiano Caruana will be tied for first place. Gukesh will come third. Hikaru will finish fourth. Pragnananda fifth. Alireza will finish in sixth, overcoming his controversies with its 7th, and Abasov will finish 8th. And now what does ChatGPT predict for the tie breaks? Well, as per ChatGPT, in the tiebreakers, both players will have very close contest, but Nepo will have a slight edge, and Jan Nepomniachtchi will go on and challenge Diglerin for a rematch for the World Chess Championship later on. Now let's see what Gemini predicts. Now unlike ChatGPT, Gemini is updated till 2024 and it does know what is happening in the chess world. So it does know who is playing in the candidates tournament and what is their form going into the tournament. So again, these are the pairings for round 11, and let's see what Gemini has to predict for it. And these are really interesting because Gemini sits on the fence for a long time before predicting crazy things right at the end. So let's see what happens in round 11. So in round 11, Gemini predicts Prague and Hikaru to draw, Vidit and Nepo also to draw, and Gukesh and Caruana also to draw. But what is interesting is it predicts Abasov to get his first win of the candidates tournament against Alireza. And the reason that Gemini gives for this victory is that Alireza is losing his focus after the events of the last two rounds. Now you would know what happened in the last two rounds. In round 8 against Nepo, he was called out by the arbitrator for his shoes being too loud, and then in the next round against Hikaru, his father was in the round against Nepo, he was called out for his shoes, and then in the next round against he was called out for his father was sent home early from the candidates tournament. So Alireza and his father has said in the interview that he does not want to play chess anymore or something similar along those lines. So, and those events will have an impact on Alireza's mind, and he will end up losing to Abasov. So after round 11, the standings would remain pretty much the same except for Abasov overtaking Alireza into 7th place. Now let's see what Bart predicts for round 12. And we know the pairings: Hikaru against Alireza, Abasov against Gukesh, Caruana against Vidit, and Nepo against Prague. So let's see what happens according to Gemini for round 12. And it goes, well, it stays on the fence and it predicts 4 draws, so every game ends in a draw. That means the standings would remain the same as they were after round 11, and that is how it would look. So Gukesh and Nepo will be top with 7 points, Prague, Hikaru, Caruana next with 6.5, Vidit with 6, and Abasov with 7 on 4.5, and Alireza on 8 with 4 points. Now let's see what happens in the last 2 rounds. Now again in this one, you can see the pairings: Nepo against Hikaru, Prague against Caruana, Vidit against Abasov, and Gukesh against Alireza. Now in the reverse fixtures, there were 3 draws and only 1 win, and Gemini goes along the similar lines. But instead of that 1 win, Gemini predicts all the 4 games to end in a draw. And so after round 13 the standings would again remain the same as it was after round 12, and it would look something like this. So again Gukesh and Nepo at top with 7.5, then again Prague, Hikaru and Caruana with 7, and with it with 6.5, still with a chance, although with other players playing each other he's unlikely to win the candidates tournament. And Abasov and Alidis are now completely out of the candidates tournament, so which sets up a very fascinating final round with potentially 5 players having a chance to win the candidates tournament. So let's see what Gemini predicts, and he is predicting something very crazy. So now these will be the last round pairings for you, and Hikaru, who is half a point behind the core tournament leader Gukesh, Hikaru has to win to have any chance of winning this tournament against Gukesh. Then Alireza against Vidit, with neither player realistically having any chance of winning the tournament. Then Abasov against Prague, and again Prague having it to win to have any chance of winning the tournament. And then Caruana against Nepo, and again Caruana has to beat Nepo to finish above him. So let's see what does what does Gemini predicts for this one. Now let's get out of the way Alireza versus Vidit, because this game will not impact the winner of the candidates tournament and it will end in a draw. Now let's see what happens between Prague and Abasov. So Gemini predicts Pragnananda to defeat Abasov. That means he will go up to 8 points. So if the other two games end in a draw, he will be in the joint lead. Or if Gukesh and Nepo fails to win, then he would win this candidates tournament or will be tied for first. Now let's see what happens in the next game. So now Hikaru beats Gukesh. So he also goes on to 8 points and is now joint at top with Pragnananda, waiting the result between Nepo and Caruana. If Nepo wins, he wins the tournament. But if Caruana wins, then it will be a 3-way tie. And if it's a draw, then again it will be a 3-way tie. And so according to Gemini, it will be a 3-way tie with Fabiano Caruana, Hikaru Nakamura and Pragnananda all tying for first place. And so the standings after round 14 would be: going into round 14, Gukesh and Nepo were in joint lead of the tournament, but there will be a heartbreak from them in round 14, with both losing their games and ending up finishing joint 4th place, with Hikaru Nakamura and Fabiano Caruana defeating the co-leaders to go at top, and Pragnananda also winning his game to join them at 8 points. With it will finish at 6th place. Above Abasov and Alireza would finish with 5 points each and finish at 7th place. So Gemini predicts a 3-way tie instead of Chat GPT, who predicted a 2-way tie between Caruana and Nepo. And so according to Gemini, Nepo will not be able to win his third candidates in a row. Now for what does he predicts in the tiebreaker? So the tiebreaker will be, first will be stage 1 will be rapid chess with 15 minutes plus 10 seconds of increment, and if that does not result in a clear winner, then we will go into blitz of 3 minutes plus 2 seconds of increment. So as per Gemini, because of it being speed chess, Gemini gives Hikaru Nakamura a slight edge over both Pragnananda and Caruana to win the candidates tournament. So according to Gemini, we would get recaps on YouTube after the World Chess Championship matches between Hikaru and Ding Liren. So let me know what you think and who will win the candidates tournament. And if you enjoyed it, do like and share the video. Thanks for watching.